Wait, I just forgot. We're showing this to the screen.
No, I think we can read it off. Because
We'll
I
show it.
wrote in a very bad handwriting. I'm not
too.
sure if people
Wait, let's
read
do it again.
Oh no.
Wow, fire alarm going off. We did it! Almost.
If this works out.
Like, I'll actually believe in miracles, because... Oh my days. We actually have to give them the backstory, but I don't know how much time we have.
Welcome to another episode of GQ Speaks, your go-to platform for insightful conversations, captivating stories, and thought-provoking discussions. GQ is a series of experiences, and we're just making sense of that as we go along. That is what we're doing here, one conversation at a time. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into our episode.
Cool.
Good?
Good, yeah. We can
Ready
start.
to start?
Yep.
Finally, we made it.
Finally. Finally. After
No, because we have to say, like, what
everything
happened.
in the universe being against our odds, like, we make it.
Yeah. No, we really do, like,
We really do.
this setup, like, is beautiful.
Deserves a shout out.
Yeah,
Shout
yeah,
out
yeah.
to Kid Bhai, first things first.
Yes, for sure. I think the lighting is insane.
Yeah,
Like,
and,
the
like,
setup itself.
Whoever did the setup, like, I don't know what they did it for, but it's insane. Like, we didn't really expect it
We were lucky
to
to
be this
find it.
good. Yes.
So,
So at some part of the universe is still working out in our favor. So I
yeah,
think
we thought that like somebody was praying on our downfall. But
Exactly,
You know what?
exactly.
Sometimes the stars align and things work out. Yeah. But
So
today
far,
we think it did. So, welcome to GQ Speaks. So today marks our 50th episode, and I would say it's a different type of episode because it's the end of a chapter for both Ibrahim and I. So 3 years ago, in 2023, in the summer actually, GQ Speaks started. And it started as a podcast club between students who thought that Georgetown Qatar needed a space where students can talk about their ideas and their stories and even have political discussions. We've built a presence on Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Google Podcasts at some point, Twitter at some point,
Yeah.
other platforms.
all of them pretty much.
We've met incredible guests. We heard powerful stories
Exactly.
and learned more than we ever expected. So
Even like some good mentors along the way as well. Because
Yeah.
like both of us were very new to this thing as well, and I can personally say for myself that I wasn't really a huge podcast fanatic before, like even like stepping into GQ Speaks and everything. Like I sometimes used to even like cringe out at the concept of like podcasts and be like, okay, why do even people listen to this? Like
Yeah.
what's really the point of like someone sounding all like nice and proper, just like soothing in a soothing voice or something, just like speaking out into a mic or something. I was like, why do people even do that? And others listen to it. But then over time, like once I got introduced to like this whole art form, like it's really blew my mind, like in terms of the fact that there's so much into it. And there's awful lot for us to learn as well. And yeah, I think that's what kept me going throughout these 3 to 4 years, and it's really interesting in that sense.
Yeah, and I think like everybody jokes and says like everybody and their mother has a podcast.
Yes, yes.
Like every single day, like I open Instagram,
Yeah.
like this influencer started a podcast, and I'm like,
And
this-
some of those memes that I used to send you as well, being like, okay, me and my friends just like decided to start on a podcast, and then the next day like they're all being arrested and stuff.
yeah,
That's pretty much how the idea actually came as well. Like
Yeah.
me and a couple of friends used to sit down every evening have tea or something, and then talk about like very controversial things, and things that are happening on campus as well. And then one of us was like, what if we do this, like, of course in like a formal kind of a way, but still like in a more like fun casual kind of a way in Georgetown as well. Like what if the gossip that we're doing here, like we start broadcasting it as well. And then that was the time when we met Robert and some of the folks from the Innovation Lab, and they were like, they can help us out with it. So that's how the whole vision sort of like started coming in together. Like it started off as a joke. Like at any point it wasn't really gonna be like this formal. And now if we look back, like after like 50 episodes, it's actually like, it gives me goosebumps with the fact that okay, something that starts off as a joke can actually have so much potential into it as well.
we'll delve into the story of how it started.
Yeah,
Because
exactly,
I actually don't know the full story. I think Ibrahim has a different version than I do. So today isn't really about the numbers. I think it's about the journey. So that's what we'll delve right into.
Absolutely.
So why did we start it? So I'll give my version because my version is really short, guys. Like I don't think I have a lot of details to share, but his version is different. So actually, during the summer of 2023, So I was a freshman. I just finished freshman year, and I was a rising sophomore. And I just sent an email to Uday, and I was like, so I have an idea for a club, like, because at that point I was very active in SJP, and I still remember, shout out to Zen Astaf, she was very, very passionate about her club. And I was like, why can I not start something for myself? And I also remember, like, Hamza and Moza for the Arabic debate club. And that that club culture was so interesting to me, and I've always wanted to start a club, but, like, in high school, there was no clubs there was no club system, basically, in my school, in my system. So I was like, you know what? Let me try to start something here. So I reached out to Uday, who was working in student life, and I shot him an email, and I was like, so I'm very interested in opening a podcast club, and I gave him, like, the ideas of just a very brief general idea of what it would look like if we actually started a club. And he was like, instead of saying, like, oh, this is the process or file these papers, he just CC'd Ibrahim and Ubaid, and Ubaid is actually class of 2025, right? Yeah. So he CC'd both of them, and he was like, so connect with them and open your club together. These folks have already started. And I was like, okay, nice. So Ibrahim and I, like, had a correspondence of emails, and I was like, nice. So they already had, like, 5 episodes recorded, allegedly.
So wait, this is where I come in. So the backstory that had been going on this end was that my freshman year, sort of like spring semester of my freshman year, me, Ubaid, and Abdullah, we sort of like got together, and we were like, yes, we want to like do the whole podcasting, like I was mentioning. Like, we used to have gossip sessions in the evening, and we were like, what if we start broadcasting them?
Gossip, huh?
Yes,
Gossip?
yes,
Okay.
about the campus.
Yeah.
Yeah, strictly professional. But yeah, we were like, what if we start doing that, like, you know, in the
Recording
innovation
setting,
lab, yeah.
yeah.
And back then they didn't used to have like the studio or anything. It was
Yeah.
just the innovation lab upstairs. And I think it was Robert who got in touch with Ubaid, and he was like, yeah, I bought this whole new equipment and stuff, and I would
Shout
love
out to
for you-
Robert Laws, yeah.
I would love for you guys to, like, you know, try it out and everything. So that's what we did. And I remember it was Ramadan of my freshman year.
Mhm.
The 3 of us, after iftar, we went all the way to the innovation lab. And then we just like back then you had to like issue the equipment in like a push cart or something, and we took it all the way to the innovation lab. And we started recording the thing, like, very randomly, just like 3 dudes sitting and then just introducing, like, you know, something. And I think it had a name at that point as well, and a very weird kind of a logo that we just like downloaded from the Georgetown Bulldog and just like put that up there. And we were like, yes, we're calling this Georgetown Speaks or GUQ Speaks. We weren't really settled on one name, but that's how we started off. And then the 3 of us start talking, and then the moment I just like start speaking into the mic, the 2 of them start laughing at me. Straight up laughing at
Wait,
me.
at that point, they haven't spoken yet.
Yes,
Okay.
they haven't spoken. Yeah, and they're like literally rolling all over the floor laughing.
Yeah, it was,
And
it was
so
fun and
unserious.
jokes, yeah.
It was so unserious. Like, I was like, dude, like, just chill out.
Yeah.
As in, we're just trying out something here. And then like we go back and forth. They try doing their takes. They mess it up as well. We do like 5-6 different tries of like just recording a 3-minute conversation. Like, we couldn't even do like 3 minutes. And somehow we just ended up with something. And the conversation that we had with Uday before that was that, okay, braver people than you have tried with, you know, a podcast before, and they failed. So until and unless you give me like at least 5 episodes, like, I can't give you a go ahead to, like, you know, even like launch a club or something. And we were like, okay, like, that's how we came into, like, you know, even recording this episode.
It's more of a challenge. I would
Exactly.
say,
So we just took that personally. We were like, okay, like, we will lock in, we will just make 5 different episodes, and we'll get back to you on that. We never got to 5. We just recorded 1. And then after that, it was Benjamin who we wanted to record next.
So Benjamin was the
is
class of
2023.
Yeah.
He used to be the SGA president, very active on campus. So we were like, okay, that's someone who would sort of like understand how, like, you know, crazy we're going with this vision. So let's just have him on board as a first guest and give him, like, you know, a space to talk about his experience with the SGA and stuff like that. And the 3 of us prepared questions to basically grill him.
I
Like,
love that.
it was meant to be as, like, you know, a session where we just come in and sort of like just throw like a bunch of like very like hard and pressing questions at Benjamin, and he managed them all like really smartly. Like, the way he navigated with those questions, it was like super interesting. So we ended up recording that episode as well. It was like 30-ish, 40-ish minutes, but that was pretty much it. After that, the 3 of us forgot about it. We were like, let's just put it on the back burner and see whatever happens with it. And that's how the whole semester thingy ended. We never ended up going back to then being like, here's the 5 episodes, because we didn't even have 5 episodes. We just had 2. So that's how we sort of like, you know, that was the kind of work that we had done up until that point. Then Summers, your email came in, and then the moment
It
that
was
came
such a
in,
funny coincidence because, like, I had no idea that they've already started. Like, it was just something that I was super interested in. So, like, it's just that podcasts are something that I regularly consume, mostly in Arabic, but if people know like Abe Talks by Anas Khash, like that's something that I really enjoyed like consuming. So I was like, why do you not have something like this on campus? And honestly, like especially as a freshman or like somebody that just came into university, like there wasn't a lot of media produced by Georgetown for like for students by students. It was mostly like maybe like written articles in the Gazette, right? But there was no like media like whether it's podcasts or like even videos that were provided for students to consume.
Yeah.
So that was such a funny coincidence. I had no idea that like they already started or like they already had this idea in mind. Yeah, I mean we can also talk about the name. So GQ Speaks.
Yes. So the moment like your email came in, like I remember we used to have this little group chat, me, Abdullah and Ubaid, and we were like, okay, like what do we do about this? Like, okay, someone else is also interested in this thing. Like, do we involve them? Do we just like what do we do about this whole situation? So
Wait, let me cut you here because I remember rolling my eyes when I saw like the email because I was like, oh my god, it's like a group of friends. I'm always like, I'm gonna be left on the side. Like I'm not gonna be able to do anything that I want to do. And that was like the first initial thought that I had. And yeah, you can continue.
Yeah, so like what Ubaid did was like he wrote down an email and he was like, okay, just send this back to it. To her, say that we've recorded 5 episodes. Like, don't say that we're just on 2 and we haven't done much. Because I remember that email, like, as you sent me, like, as well. Like, that email said that we'd already done with 5. Yeah. No way we were done with 5 at that point. So, we just got back to your email saying that, yes, we would love to have you on board and all of that. And over time, what they were thinking was that they'll sort of, like, gradually take the back seat. And then you can sort of, like, just take the lead on projects and everything. And just, that's how the system is going to be organized.
At that point, they were juniors.
At that point, they were sophomores, or actually end of sophomore year, start of junior year, something of that sort. And once like all of that transition was happening, like I remember like we used to meet a couple of times once the semester had started. Like we had like 1 or 2 meetings, but that was it. Like after that, we never met as a group.
Yeah.
And those guys just like gradually started like.
Not even gradually, like they just straight up ghosted us. They were like, because I still remember they were like, oh, so who wants to be president?
You'll be the president.
You're the president. Ibrahim, you're the vice. And I was like, wait, what's going on? But like,
and then I used to feel bad about like okay, us bringing you into like this whole thing and then just disappearing from it. Yeah. So I was like, okay, what's happening here? Like we really need to do something about it. So that's why I stuck around for a little bit. I was like, okay, let's see, because again, the idea in my mind was like this is something that we started off as a joke, so we were never really that serious about it. But I was like, okay, let's see how long it even goes, because like. Let's just play around with it.
I came in for business. Like, I was not playing...
But she meant business. Like, she meant business since day one.
And I was like, why are they... Like, why is it... Because I still remember, like, the conversations were so unserious. Like, it was so hard to get a grasp of Ubaid and Abdullah. Which is fair, honestly. Like, they were in for the jokes and the giggles. But, like, for me, it was like, wait, why are we not, like, getting to business? Why are we not, like... why are we not producing? Like, where's the
And then, honestly, that's how, over time, like, I realized that, no, this is something that... Like it is interesting, like if you actually put your mind to it, like there is more to it than just like gossips and giggles and stuff like that. So there is like a formal kind of pathway you can take down as well. And over time we met a bunch of like interesting people along the way as well, who introduced you to a bunch of different things beyond like the traditional chat shows and everything. And that's just what got us started in the first place.
Yeah, so I mean, let's talk a little bit about Georgetown culture of like discussion and dialogue. I think coming into Georgetown, I still remember in convocation something that was said to us on stage. So people, I mean, I don't remember who I can't quote who exactly said it, but I still remember somebody saying that like in the atrium you're gonna have like discussions with people from like around the world on different issues, and you're gonna disagree and agree on many things. And I still remember like going into the atrium thinking that like that's the type of discussions that we were gonna have, which happened occasionally. I wouldn't say that it didn't, but I did feel like there wasn't enough of a conversation like going on, especially because people are coming from very different places. But you would really have to like go up to people and put in the effort to like actually know what they think about things. Like people wouldn't just like out of nowhere start discussing like politics, even though we are in a school of foreign service. So I think like it was very surprising for me to see the culture of dialogue and discussion. And there is the debate club that's been doing a lot, of course, on campus, but I also think I expected students to be more vocal about their opinions and their voices. And I mean, a platform like this is something that we also not only want to give a platform for students to talk about their political issues, but also even their experiences on campus. Like part of this thing even started was like for students who are coming in to like have an idea of what Georgetown might look like for
Mhm.
them, and yeah, what type of opportunities exist.
And since day one, we wanted it to function as a platform that's open for everyone to come in with their ideas, with their vision, and we're sort of there to facilitate them with the execution, with regards to like all of the technicalities that are associated with it. And so that's why I think it's over time became a space where people can just like come in with their ideas and everything and experiment around with a bunch of different things. And the way we started picking up pace as well was through the third episode that we had with Ahmed Zayed about Palestine. Because again, I remember like as you were mentioning, like
I think that's the fourth. Like if you consider the introduction.
okay, if you
Yeah.
consider the introduction, yeah. But yeah, that episode sort of like used to have like I remember there used to be like a lot of debates on batch group chats before that where people are just like very passionate about their opinions. They're trying to like project them forward. And no one's really listening to like what the other person is saying. Everyone is sort of like interested with putting their viewpoint out there.
No,
So we were like, there needs to be a space where these conversations are slowed down and sort of like had in a capacity where someone is able to actually like understand what the other person is trying to say. Because in a group chat, everyone is trying to prove a point, but over here you're slowing down and you're trying to have a conversation which is meaningful and which leads us collectively somewhere. So we sort of like started advertising the club as a space where you're able to do that. And I think that really helped with the episode that we had in Palestine as well after the October 8th attacks happened.
Yeah, so I'll say something about Ahmed Zayed's episode. So that was like one of the most watched episodes.
Yeah, one of our early like successful episodes that
yeah.
actually like was topping our charts in the initial analytics that we used to get.
Yes, I think a lot of people like because October 7th obviously was something very controversial, but also because people wanted to hear about Ahmed's opinion because he was
and
also,
his personal like experience as
yeah,
well.
because he's obviously from Gaza, so he had a lot to say. But I think like seeing how successful that was
Yes.
removed a little bit of the fear of like nobody's gonna listen, because at the beginning it was very hard to like get people to like tune in. But I think like once you put something out there that people are actually interested in or like passionate about, and like once you put the audience in mind, I think it's very doable to like get some attraction. Yes, it's more difficult, I would say, for podcasts to do well than, for example, like video formats.
Yeah.
Which is why like even the new leadership going into GQ Speaks, like that's something that they push forward, like a vodcast instead of a podcast. But I think like definitely there is an audience out there that is also curious to know what students have to say and what our campus also has to offer. But
so I think that kind of success early on really like removed some of the fears that were associated with like, okay, what if people don't even care about what we're putting out there?
No, for sure.
And that's what sort of like
gave us momentum for sure. Yeah, it gave us motivation to like keep going. Like yes, some episodes wouldn't do as well as others, but at the end of the day, like we felt like we're putting something out there that's worth listening to and people are interacting with. So yeah, I mean, I'll give the floor to Ibrahim to maybe entertain us with a game.
Okay, yeah, I think so. We have the way we're doing this, we have like a bunch of different like kind of games planned as well that we want to like play just to like kind of make this more entertaining as well.
Yeah.
And at the same time like reflect on some of the episodes that we've done along the way as well, because we've reached 50 and hopefully by the point that this goes out there we would have the 50th checklist out there, and this hopefully goes out as the 50th episode. So there's a lot to like unpack in terms of episodes, and we can't really go over every single episode, so I thought like having a couple of games in there is going to help us to sort of like reflect over our highs, our lows, and all of that throughout. So the first game that we have here is to sort of like draft top 3 or 5 episode. Well, how much do you want to do, by the way? I think let's do
top 3.
Top 3, yeah, top 3. Let's do like a top 3 draft board. So both of us, like, let's just note down our top 3 episodes.
Okay.
And then let's kind of like discuss them with each other and be like, how did we rank them out there?
Attention, please. A fire emergency has been reported in the building. Please leave the building from the nearest fire exit. Do not use the elevators. الرجاء الانتباه. الرجاء الانتباه. لقد تم.
Okay.
Yeah, see? I told you the fire alarm is going off.
But there's no speaker in here, is it?
No, there's no speaker,
Just
but the flash.
Okay, the flash we can do.
No, but they need to know, like, we're here despite everything.
Ooh, actually, the more I read that list, like, I want to do 5 now.
No. No, because I don't have 5. I only have 3.
I can easily do 5.
Okay, do 5. You know what? It's fine.
Okay, 4. Not 5. I'm doing top 4.
But you have to show it to the screen.
Yeah. Okay.
But in the right order. Like
In the right order, yeah.
Oh, okay. You already put the right order?
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't?
No.
Let's start in like a reverse chronological order. Add one more. Like, let's do 4. It's fine.
I don't have.
Just there's 50 in front of you that you can choose from.
Yeah,
How
like-
can you not choose one more?
Okay, I'm done.
Done?
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna be exchanging our lists now and read off each other's. This one. Okay. So the first
So
one we
the
have,
first episode we both agreed on.
we both agreed on
is
is
Speaking
epis-
Truth to Power,
episode
episode 43.
There we go.
So that's about the walkout. I think
Exactly.
like definitely tops both of our
Yeah,
lists
yeah,
because it's a narrative episode, and I think that's a format we've been experimenting with, but haven't had like a lot of experience with. But this episode is definitely
And I think just in terms of execution, like this was the first narrative episode that we were able to like execute perfectly, because the interviews that we conducted for this, the way we sort of like managed the script and everything, like everything had a systematic order to it, which was why it was able to like.
shout out to Ibrahim for planning that one because we did do a narrative episode before that just was a bit messier.
Yeah, but I think we only learned from our mistakes in that sense. Like, had we not gone through that process, we wouldn't even have been able to figure out what is the right kind of like steps that we need to take in order to even like execute an episode like this. So I think regardless of how that episode turned out, there's a whole backstory to it, which we might get to at some point. But regardless of however that experience was with regards to the first episode, the first narrative episode that we did, I think it was all really important to learn what the right kind of practices are that you need to have when you go out on an investigative journalism episode. Whenever you're approaching something of that sort, that's sensitive, that has a bunch of different opinions on it, and everyone needs to like be able to like trust you with their voice that you're putting out there. There's certain things that you need to be aware of that we over time realize that how exactly do we need to handle those kind of things, and how much planning needs to go behind those things as well, for something to come out in a cohesive kind of a way. So
No,
I
for
think
sure.
yeah.
I think trial and error is the way to learn.
Exactly.
We've had a lot of that in.
And the good thing is that we didn't give up on the whole approach, because again, with narrative episodes, with investigative journalism episodes, like it's a bit daunting to even like take up the challenge in the first place and be like, okay, why do you even want to do a story in a piece that's so controversial to like the students or like the administration or other people, but at the same time like being willing to sort of like take up a challenge in and of itself requires like a lot of like dedication and commitment, and I'm glad that we pushed each other in that sense to not give up on that. So yeah, I think this episode definitely
tops
deserves
both
to
of our
be-
lists, so you guys should give it a listen if you
on
haven't.
top of our lists.
Second, I'll say for yours. So Palestine, My Issue, episode 4.
Yeah, I think we've discussed this because, like, for very clear reasons, this was our first shot at early success. So I think in terms of helping us get that momentum, this was something that I've found to be like really meaningful. The second one you have on your list is episode 35, Student Life Core. That was our first Arabic episode that we did, right? First or second? Second. So yeah, I think even though I don't understand what happened in that episode, but I'm gonna like defer to you on that.
That episode was very special to me because I think talking about student life across campuses in Qatar was something that I really deeply cared about. Jenna, shout out to Jenna and Hanof and Noor. So from Carnegie, QU, and UDST, and I think that conversation was really nice. Even though it was the first time we met, we managed to like record a podcast, and I think speaking about how student life between different campuses is something that a lot of people maybe don't compare or don't think of, but I think it makes a big difference if a campus has a good student life or it doesn't. So talking about like the challenges, the opportunities that we have as students, and the episode actually did really well considering like it was in Arabic. So we only had around 2 episodes in Arabic actually since the podcast started. But
I think this was our first instance at expanding our reach outside of EC as well. This is the first time we were bringing in people from universities outside of Education City. So in terms of like traction as well, I think it did pretty well.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'll say our third one. So faculty versus feedback. I rate my professor. This is episode 34.
Yeah.
So this is I think is an audience favorite actually.
Exactly. Like in terms of like traction, views, and everything, I think this one did pretty well. Also because this was one of the first times we were doing the video thing as well.
Yeah.
So what we did was we sort of like Tashafi and Anupa took the lead on this episode, and they ended up recording professors in their offices, sort of like reading out their Rate My Professor reviews. It's a really cool episode.
Yeah,
if
it's
you
a really
haven't checked
funny
it out
one. You should
so
check
far,
it out.
you should definitely do that. And it was really interesting to see professors sort of like respond in real time to the feedback that they're getting on Rate My Professor. And I think even if like we do like a second sort of like an edition of it at some point down the line, like that would be really interesting for
No, for sure.
new people to pick up.
Yeah.
But yeah, your third one on the list here is episode 39, Hibarat, which I think also, as we've discussed, is was
our
a trial
first-
and error process.
That was our first investigative narrative episode, and the reason it made it to that list, despite all the trauma I had with it, I think is like the way you learn from certain things definitely makes you grow as a person, and I think
Exactly.
there's so many things to maybe unpleasant things that happened, like whether it's the interviews or the way things were executed, but at the end of the day, like I am still proud of us for going out there to cover the story of very visible student activism and very visible student voices.
Exactly.
Shout out to Aya and Noon as well for sharing their opinions about the Sudan Conference of Hiwarat, and just seeing like multiple perspective about one thing makes you think that yes, the reality could be very nuanced, and there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to like representation of our campus. So yeah, I think very proud of that episode despite everything.
Despite everything. No, definitely.
Yeah, I'll conclude. So we did top 4. We did say the top 3, but we couldn't.
We ended on the top 4.
Courage to Thrive, Dr. John Wright's Journey. That was episode 3. Yeah, I'll give you.
And I think the reason why this episode made it to my list was the idea of it came like very organically from a one-on-one conversation I had with Dr. John Wright, where I was like, okay, this conversation that we just had can actually be a podcast.
It was during CEP, right?
It was during CEP when we were in Jordan, and it was like me and Anupa sitting together with Dr. John, and sort of like him dropping his entire like life lore in one night. We had like a nice fire campsite thingy as well going on. So it was really interesting to like hear his story, and I was like, okay, if I got to have this experience, I want other people to sort of like listen to the story as well, just because it's interesting and there's so much to learn from. And the way we were able to sort of like replicate the same kind of like essence of his story that I got during the whole experience as well. I think the way we executed it, it was me, you, and Abdullah who did that, right?
Yeah. It was one of our earliest episodes.
Exactly. And I remember like the feedback that I got from Abdullah as well was that it really like moved him as well in terms of like the story that Dr. Wright was sharing. So yeah, definitely it was an interesting episode to work on, and also like one of our earliest episodes with regards to covering like someone's personal life story.
Yeah, I think this had more attraction, unfortunately, once Dr. John Wright left our campus.
Yes.
People actually tuned in to hear, and people were surprised. They were like, oh, we had no idea Dr. Wright had this life trajectory. So if you haven't listened, maybe you should. But yeah, I think his life story deserves a lot of applause.
Absolutely. And the fourth and final one on your list is an episode that we did fairly recently, episode 44, War Letters.
Yeah, so I'll talk about that a little bit. So episode 44 is one of those episodes that gives me chills because it was during the attacks that happened in Doha, following February 28th. So I just wanted to know how students and faculty and staff were dealing with going online and that period of our campus. And I think especially being a senior, during that time, it was very unfortunate that we didn't know that we already had our last day on campus. And I think talking to other people and realizing that we're all in the same boat. Like, yes, people have different experiences, but we're all navigating like uncertainty and fear and stress, and yeah, like it's interesting to see how some people dealt with it versus others, and also what everybody's opinion was like. Some people were very optimistic, others were fairly pessimistic. So I think this is a very nice episode that captures our campus from a very different angles, but also I'm very happy that it's out there. So even like when years pass down the line and there's an archive of what our campus looked like during such difficult times.
And I think just in terms of like timeliness, given the amount of uncertainty that was sort of like revolving around that time period, I think this was a good space for people to come in and sort of like discuss their experiences solely for just putting that story out there and seeing how Georgetown as a collective community is experiencing it. So I think yes, this was also like one of the more powerful episodes that we worked on.
No, for sure. And I think maybe it was more of a selfish take, but it was personally, even for me, like to even know how to navigate that time, it was very nice hearing and talking to other people, even though it was online, but it was nice talking to other people and hearing what they also have to say. So yeah, I mean, yeah, those are top 4s for each of us, but we did have one overlap. So
yep. And that was for the first one. So
yeah. Okay, so jumping back to my segment, I think something that a lot of people don't realize is how much work goes behind the scenes. And yes, this is obviously something that we signed up for, but there's also a lot of nuances that happen, and I think it's very interesting because people only see the final product. They don't see what actually happens.
Yeah.
And a lot of people actually ask us like how we navigate like academic life or extracurricular or social life, and even like considering we also both work during our time at GQ. So people ask like how are you able to like navigate and balance out? And I'll answer this. I don't think I am balancing, actually. I think I'll give Ibrahim credit where credit is due. So we pick up where we are short in things. So I would say like when I am I'm short on time or like I don't have time for things, we just communicate and like he's able to handle it, and vice versa, or at least I hope so. So I
No,
think
definitely. I think for me, like from my perspective, sometimes like I tend to sort of like get lazy about certain things as well. But then the constant reminders you keep on sending with regards to okay, let's pick up pace, let's get back to it. It gives me the kind of drive to actually like put in more effort into things because I'm like okay, if someone else can, okay, for someone else if this thing can have so much meaning towards with regards to like being so consistent, being so like constant with regards to like the episodes that we're producing out there. If someone else could have that dedication, then why cannot I sort of like replicate the same kind of energy? So I think it really is a two-way channel in that sense where we're bouncing off of each other's energy in that sense.
Yeah, I think like definitely working as a team. Like it's not one man show. Like obviously, if one person is like doesn't have the time for this, like we also divide the workload between us as well, and we follow up on different episodes. We reach out to different people, so even we could work on multiple episodes simultaneously, just in case something doesn't work out and another one does. So I think definitely like just having communication. We will say like we did have some periods where we wouldn't like produce as much as we would like to,
Yeah.
like even our semester abroad in DC.
Abroad was also like a whole
Yeah, maybe
story
let's
in
talk
and
a
of
little bit
itself.
about that story.
Yeah, because I remember before semester abroad, we agreed on the fact that okay, we're pressing pause on this,
yeah,
as in like it's not our concern for at least like a good year at this point.
yeah.
But during semester abroad, we still somehow found ourselves
We were too
recording
attached.
episodes in DC for the club.
We were too attached. We were in Lao Library actually,
Yeah.
and we decided to like just reach out to Qatar campus and ask for like episodes to be recorded. So the format of our podcast actually is very interesting because yes, we do lead episodes, but I will say like we try to reach out to other people to even
Yeah.
lead their own episodes. So
And bring more voices into the mix through that.
yeah, I think like something that we were afraid of starting this is like it would become like too repetitive and like people will get tired of the same host, the same people, the same everything. So
Yeah.
and the ideas as well, like it would be nice to like see what the campus also has to offer, which is why we try to like with most episodes that are like chat show episodes, we reach out to the host and like we ask them if they're interested, like if we know somebody's like interested in hosting but they're not interested in being a guest, like we ask them like what type of topics they would like to do, what type of like conversation they would like to have, what type of guests they would like to take, or if we already have an episode in mind, we just assign like certain episodes to hosts that we know are interested in hosting. And a lot of people obviously like they want to be involved, so that's nice. But yeah, I think that was the biggest challenge, like navigating the balance between like us leading our own projects versus like giving people the platform for themselves as well, because we didn't want it to just be like Ibrahim and Rimas's podcast.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
yeah.
I think we were very clear with that since day one that we want this to be as a platform where people can come in, chime in with their ideas, and sort of like keep the ball rolling. So yeah,
Yeah, I think the
really interesting
like
in that sense.
what if you could say what's the biggest challenge that's faced you?
So for me, I think one of the biggest challenges was learning how to like edit, audio editing, sound editing, and all of that. Because like I had no prior experience or like any kind of like interface with how even editing works. And that was one of the biggest challenges that we were into with regards to once we were setting things up. I remember like when we were even working on the intro for the podcast, like the
Yeah.
intro and outro sequence. We were editing on CapCut, and for the longest time we were using CapCut to just sort of like learn the basics of how editing actually works.
Yeah.
And you start small at some point, like you can't necessarily bring all of the big tools since day one and sort of like overwhelm yourself with that. And Robert was really helpful with that, to be very honest, because he sort of like used to sit with us in the start, walk us through how Adobe Audition works, some of the basics of it, and how to like even play around and stuff like that. But over time I realized that if we have to sort of like keep on elevating the quality of the content that we're putting out there, we sort of like need to adapt and sort of like keep growing in that sense as well, because there's no point of like dishing out episodes one after the other if you're not improving on the quality that you're pushing out.
Yeah, if you go back to our earliest episode,
Yeah, you'll see what I mean in that
you'll
sense.
see what we mean. Like there's some episodes where like now
We even revisited some of them at some point down the line. I remember for the Imam Hindi episode, for instance, like the audio in that was so bad that I think a year or so after we were like, okay, let's go back and let's
try to fix
republish
the
that
audio.
episode
Yeah.
without anyone knowing, so that the audio isn't that like torturous to even like listen to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for me,
So
one
for
of the
you, it's the
biggest
editing?
challenges was learning how to edit and
No, I definitely think you took that load for yourself. Like, I mean, also something else is that Georgetown doesn't really give you like any like subscriptions or anything like that. So that's something we also have
we had
to
to
like,
like pull in strings from like our friends in Northwestern. Shout out to them as well. They know who they are. But definitely without your help, without your like subscriptions and everything, all of this would not have been possible. So thank you so much for that.
yeah, no, for sure. And I think like it's funny because people just think like, oh, these episodes
Yes,
edit themselves.
edit
They don't
themselves,
know.
exactly.
They don't
exactly.
know.
Like
they
how
don't-
hard can it be? And like especially with sometimes the feedback that you're getting is like, Also, like,
Yeah.
do you realize like what you're asking is gonna take me like 1 or 2 hours easily to fix? Like, it's not really gonna be that easy as it seems or as it sounds. But yeah, no, over time, I think what I was able to sort of like some of the challenges I was able to navigate was like how to make this process easy for myself as well. Because like consistently like spending more time on like editing is also not a way for you to like actually learn things, because there are tons of tools that are out there that are now helpful for you to even like edit with less time, with less effort and all of that. So just being wary of the kind of like tools and products that are out there and how we can utilize them for the podcast was something that I found to be like a good learning curve for myself as well.
Yeah, amazing. I think for me personally, I would say scheduling and like things not going according to plan. Like, how do I say this? The human aspect of it, I think, is the most difficult thing to deal with, because like we go in with plans. Like, I'm not saying we go into the year with a plan. Like, we actually think
We came in today with a plan as well.
we came in
How did
today
that
with a
turn out?
plan. We always like I'm a very perfectionist, and I'm somebody who like likes things to go according to plan. So when things don't plan out as I want them to be, or like as good as I want them to be, it really like not only annoys me, but it also like shows me that you can never be in control fully. And that's something that like I've also learned from GQ Speaks. It's like just let things go for the sake of letting them go. Like there's no reason for you to get so attached to like certain ideas of like what you think a good episode would look like. Like, let's even give them a rundown of like how we even managed to come into this podcast room. So it's, what is it today, June 6th? Yeah, June 6th today, and it's a Saturday, and it's apparently there's a fire alarm going on from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
So we've been planning for this since all of last week. Actually, we were like, okay, Saturday like 12 we'll be here, we'll start recording and everything, and we've been trying to like book this place ever since
I mean,
last
now
week.
we're alumni, so
Yeah, so I mean that's not easy in the first place to even start, but we tried to book around with like the library and everything, and then things were not working out. The website was down, no one was here to help us out and everything, but we like, okay, let's improvise, let's see what we can do. We even like went all the way to QNL and tried with them as well. Tried finding a podcast studio in there that we can use. That didn't work out as well. We came back here, we asked people to like, you know, pull some strings for us. We reached out to Keith Wise,
the
I gave
library
him a
is
shout out as
closed.
well,
Library is
because
closed.
the library is closed.
Not
like,
only can you not like book it, but it's also closed.
it is not open for the weekends these days, so we had to like, you know, pull strings in that sense, have some connections and like, you know, vouch for us, and that's how we ended up in this room. And I'm so glad that they have like a cool setup in there. That's it's such a godsend in that sense.
No, yeah, for sure.
Really a blessing.
I think be stubborn, but also like be flexible. Like
Exactly,
there's a good balance, guys.
And there's a whole lot of improvising that we have to do on the go, which I feel like is what makes the process more enjoyable as well, because like you never know what's coming your way.
No, these are memories for sure. Like
exactly.
We'll remember this, but I just hope the fire alarm doesn't go off on us while we're recording. Let's talk about episodes that were cancelled. So I think that's a question that I always get. How many episodes were cancelled?
Quite a few.
Quite a few. Would you say?
But for good reason.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it's our choice. Sometimes it's the guest's choice.
Yes.
But I would say 4 or 5.
4 to 5, yeah.
We don't need to give names, but like if we can talk about why. So canceling episodes happens for 2 reasons: either the content or the quality. I don't want to like spend too much time on it, but sometimes it's a choice from us, sometimes it's a choice from the guest. But I will say sometimes we just don't want to put things out there just for the sake of putting it out there. Sometimes like yes, there is very niche episodes that have very niche audiences, but that's different than like an episode that's the content for, or the work that's been the preparation that goes into it is not as thought of as we would have liked it to be. And sometimes the guests themselves, they just cancel and they decide to like not let the episode go up there. So yeah, those have been the 2 instances. But like yes, it is very I would say disappointing when you like record something and it doesn't come out as expected, because you also want to think of like timeline of episodes and getting things out there. But yeah, I mean it's part of the process. So yeah, I think the human aspect for me has been the most difficult part. I think also people who go on record and then decide to not go on record.
There's a lot of people management that goes behind this job as well, where you have to sort of like understand what the other person is comfortable with, what they're not comfortable with. How do you like build expectations? How do you maintain those expectations, consent, all of that, and everything with regards to like, you know, the videos. Even like there's a whole social media aspect to it as well that we haven't talked about so far, and a lot of like our friends have helped us out with that as well over time, because at the same time when we're pushing out like podcast episodes out there, there's promotional content we try and keep consistent with as well, with regards to putting out like social media reels or like stories and things of that sort. I think Masha deserves a shout out here
So
with
shout
regards
out
to
to
like
Masha from our batch.
every post that we've sort of like put out there for every episode. Like she's been the designer behind it, and sort of like give the whole Instagram page a pretty much like a cohesive like format and theme associated with it. Because if you go back to some of the starting posts that we've archived at this point, like they were they were really bad.
They were really messy, yeah. But I think like Masha deserves a shout out because every time I reach out to her, like
Exactly.
despite how short the timeline is, she still
Yes,
manages to
yes,
like
yes,
give
yes,
me the
yes.
same quality of work.
And it's gotten better like over time as
Yeah.
well, like similar to with the episodes, as in like this side of things as well. Like everyone who's been involved with this podcast has been able to sort of like elevate their craft
Yeah.
in one way or the other, which I think is the whole idea of like growth and everything.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think like a lot of people who worked on the reels, we always credit people
Yeah.
down the reels and give them credit where credit is due. And I think like that's also been part of how our podcast grew is through Instagram and the way social media works. And yes, people might not tune into the podcast, but at least they know of the podcast and they know
Exactly,
of the people behind the podcast. So I
Yeah.
think that's how promotion works. And I think like
sure.
marketing is a difficult angle to work with, especially because like you also want to consider the we don't really have a specific content that we put out there. That's something that we also have to work around. Like other podcasts have a very specific niche,
Yeah.
but for us it's like very diverse, and I think that also changes the audience every single time we put an episode out there. Like some people would tune into like episode X and not tune into episode Y, right? Which makes sense for the type of episodes we put out.
Yeah.
But
Because
yeah.
every episode tends to have like a particular niche. Good. I think this is a good time to move to another game now, just to like cool things off.
You're having too much fun with it, but let's do it.
So this next game that we have in our lineup is called Would You Rather. Let's try and do this like a rapid fire thing. Okay. And then if we have like conflicting opinions on any, we can then discuss. Cool. So the first one is: would you rather re-record episode 1 or never have recorded it at all? Episode 1. So the revised episode 1 that we did had you in it. So
I think
would
never
you-
have recorded it at all.
At all?
Because guys, when I listen to that episode, like I physically cringe.
Yes,
like, I can't.
yes, I can't re-listen to it. Like
No, like I tried. I can't.
even
I
though
really,
like analytics wise, it did really good like compared to like,
yeah,
other things.
like why?
But then I can re-listen to it.
Yeah.
It's just like 3 minutes or something.
Yeah, it's 3 minutes, but
But no,
more
no,
than
no.
plenty.
Never have recorded it. At
Yeah,
all.
never have recorded it for sure. I think it
Cool.
was just like you don't really need an introduction to a podcast.
Yeah, I don't know.
Our intro
too
and
naive
outro
back then.
sequence like do it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah.
Would you rather have twice the listeners or twice the guests? In all honesty, like twice the listeners isn't gonna make that much of a difference.
Yeah.
So I think twice the number of guests. Like that's
Yeah, I think twice the number.
Yeah,
of
'cause,
guests.
like-
you have unlimited.
exactly
Potential to grow.
Like even if you have twice the number of listeners, like does that change things in the
No,
grand scheme of things?
no. So
Exactly.
unlimited.
Exactly,
guests, yeah.
Twice the number of guests, yeah. Okay, would you rather the show ended at episode 10 famously or reached episode 100 quietly? Ooh, that's a good one.
Famously, as in like.
As in, like, it goes viral, let's say. It goes viral, but
I
it's
think
just like
reach
10
episode 100 quietly.
Yeah, same for me as well. Because, like, I think that gives you more room to experiment around with a bunch of different things and sort of, like,
Because
learn
if you
more
go
things in the
back, like if you
process.
see our 10th episode, I don't even know what it is, but
Yeah,
like
exactly,
no, like by
exactly.
10 episode, like we had
It would have been, like, a hot minute of fame, like, that's it. Like, apart from that,
like a random side quest.
yeah, like,
But,
reels go viral every other day and then
Yeah.
they fizzle out, like,
But I think something that I like, yes, we have 50 episodes. Maybe a lot of them like didn't get a lot of attraction, but I think it's like a good archive.
exactly
there.
of things you can always like just like
No,
that
for
you
sure.
can know that there is an archive out there that's sort of like hosting all of them together. So yeah, and it's something to be like proud of as well. And the fire alarm goes off again, but yeah, and every time I would now look back and sort of like know that I have 50 episodes in an archive, like that gives me a conviction of heart that I cannot explain.
Yeah.
Like I cannot explain, but then there is like
no,
kind
it
of
was his idea,
satisfaction.
by the way, to reach at
associated
50.
with
Because
it.
I was like, I'm good with 45, but he's like,
But then my OCD is like
50.
45, 50, as in like if we are so close to that point, then why not just like end on a high note? And if that whole war situation hadn't happened, like as in we were on track to get to 50 in time.
No, for sure. But I think.
But like now, given
Yeah.
these, even though the circumstances are not ideal, we're still like
yeah.
etching closer to it. So dedication.
Inshallah,
Dedication.
inshallah, soon,
Inshallah,
guys.
inshallah,
This will be the 50th episode. So like,
Inshallah.
if this goes out, we did it.
Okay. Would you rather every episode had a script or none of them did?
No, I'd rather every episode had a script.
Yeah, same. Because
I
like
think, yeah.
we've had experiences in the
Where
past where like
there's no script.
and it's so random. Like the discussion is also like very unhinged. Like it's
Yeah.
really random in that sense. So I think we both agree on
yeah.
this. Would you rather have hosted every single episode yourself or never hosted a single one? Ooh.
Personally, I would say never hosted a single one.
I think I wouldn't mind hosting every single episode. Um,
Really? My
but
days.
again, it is like too much of a task, to be honest. As in, like, but I feel like over time I would have gotten like
Eased in.
eased into it. As in, then I would have been like much more comfortable in front
Yeah,
of the
but I
camera.
also
'Cause,
think
by
like
the way, this is the first time that we're actually kind of like in an episode in capacity of a guest. Like we're
Guest.
not necessarily like asking
Mhm.
the questions or like we're giving our own opinions on certain things as well. This is the first kind of time we're doing it. Which is
I
interesting.
think I would mind like hosting every episode because people start associating like your name with
Yes,
something
that is
and
true
like
as well.
becomes your show, right? So
Mhm.
I'll just never host. Like personally, I like hosting, but like I don't enjoy it. Like to the point.
I
that
wouldn't
I'll-
mind narrating though, as in like
Mm,
maybe
narrating is nice.
yeah. My like the way I would sort of like tweak my answer is like I would like narrating every episode, but not necessarily hosting it.
No.
So maybe for the chat shows, no, but for the narrative ones, maybe yes.
Mm.
Okay, would you rather your most personal episode had gone viral or stayed under 100 listens? I think this one's pretty same to the one
Most
to the one we
personal
did before.
episode had
Um,
gone viral.
or stayed under 100 listens. I think one. If it's just a question of one episode, then yeah, one episode getting viral is
Yeah.
like okay,
Yeah.
good as opposed to like staying under 100 listens. Would you rather do a reunion episode in 10 years or never return to it?
Damn.
Damn, 10 years.
I think I would like to.
Yeah, me as well. Mm,
If like
Would be
if
nice.
the stars align and
yeah,
one day we get to record and even like with whatever leadership, if this club continues
Exactly,
after
like,
us,
even continuing in like 10 years is a huge ask in the first place. So if it makes it to that point, then yes, it would be an honor to be back here
Yeah.
and then just like
no, for sure.
do like a reunion. Because if it sticks around for 10 years, then it means like it really is somewhere.
Yeah.
So
No, I think like what I realized about this club is like we didn't really finish it. We just
yeah,
started it. Like
exactly.
we just got the ball rolling. Like I already see so much potential with where this could go next for
Exactly.
other students who are willing to take it. And Georgetown did sign a 10-year contract, so
Exactly. So now is the right kind of like like the next step should be able to like take this upwards
Yeah.
and onwards. So
yeah, I think it was very difficult setting the foundations.
Yeah.
but-
the trajectory moving
Yeah.
forward should sort of like pick pace in that sense where it's growing exponentially. So yeah, would you rather have started in freshman year or exactly when you did?
I think if I were to answer freshman year,
Yeah, as in starting earlier would have definitely
it
helped.
would have helped a lot because
Yeah.
like yes, we did 3 years. Alhamdulillah, like we did a
Mhm.
lot, but like getting an extra year as well would have.
Would have helped out with things.
Help.
But in freshman year, you're obviously figuring out other
Yeah.
things as well, as in like
Mm.
orienting yourself with regards to the campus and its dynamics and everything. So having some time to sort of like understand how the community dynamics are
True.
operating is also helpful to give you more context on how you really want to do things.
Yeah,
So
I'm a firm
Yeah.
believer of like good timings and like God timing. So
and technically we did start in freshman year. It's just that it didn't formally start, but like
yeah,
some form of it was out there. Would you rather swap roles? You do what the other person did for the whole run. So you handled the bulk of the tasks that I did, and I handled the bulk of the tasks you did.
no, thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah, for me
Yeah,
as well.
I
Because
think-
like, I think you handled a lot more of the outreach
I
than
think
I
you
did.
handled a lot of the editing.
Yeah, and I don't mind doing that, but like outreach wise, like that sort of like drains me out much more quickly when I have to like follow up with like 100 different people and
Mm.
just like
I've
keep
harassed,
on
I've
pushing
harassed a
people
lot
and
of people,
stuff like
by
that.
the way. Like,
Yeah,
whoever
like-
I harassed, I'm sorry, guys. Like, sometimes I'm on business and I need to get it done, but yeah, I think
Yeah, I
outreach
can't
is,
do that. To be
outreach
honest,
is too much. But I think editing as well, like, I wouldn't do that. Like, it drove me crazy editing war letters, like, all my days. But also, because things are so unexpected, like, things could go, especially for editing. We didn't even mention Kirby joining us.
oh yeah,
but-
by the way,
Yeah.
we can get to it at some point.
Yeah, but I think what's funny is, like, editing. You think like yes, as if you even if you plan as much as possible, it still doesn't mean that like things are gonna go
Yeah,
as planned. And editing process is like where damage control happens. So
Okay.
yeah,
Would you rather the show had a big budget and no creative freedom, or no budget and total freedom? That's a really good one.
damn.
Damn. Okay, so budget wise, I mean,
I
we
would say
were
we
never
had no
able.
budget.
Yeah, exactly. We were never able to use the budget for things that we actually want.
Mm,
Like, if we could invest in like a lot of this equipment, I think
I still dream of a studio. For our
yes,
club,
exactly,
but
exactly. But to be honest, today, as in like with this
This,
setup, I
yeah.
think
Like
we made a lot of progress. As in,
no, for sure. So for me, I would say no budget and total freedom.
yeah, exactly. Like no kind of like oversight and things of this sort. Because we've been offered, things in the
Mhm.
past as well.
Mm.
I don't know. Do you want to talk about that or? But like, we've had kind of like requests of like officiating this platform into sort of like a platform that GUQ owns in a more like administrative kind of a capacity, and sort of like uses it to dish out some of the content that they want to push out there. But the reason why we sort of like weren't fully on board with it was the fact that we
there
think
would be a lot of censorship
exactly
for the
there's a
things
lot of
that we
censorship
want to
that's
pursue, and
associated
I
with
think
it.
like that's something we didn't want to compromise on. But also like there's some fun in like navigating things.
Exactly,
like-
and just like taking bold
Yeah.
steps, doing things that other people won't. But yeah,
Yeah, I think
definitely.
freedom is where it is, guys.
Would you rather one episode from the show be remembered forever or all 50 be forgotten equally? I think one episode.
One episode,
Yeah,
I
remembered
think.
forever, exactly. Would you rather know how many people listen to every episode or never know the numbers at all? I think never know the numbers at all.
Yeah, I think never. know
Yeah,
numbers
because
as well.
like the numbers haven't really helped over the course of this whole run.
Yeah, I
like-
think like at the beginning I used to get caught up in the numbers. Now I don't even check.
Yeah,
them, 'cause I'm
exactly.
like-
Because sometimes you put in so much effort and the numbers don't really like pick up pace as much as you want. But other times it's like a very low effort episode that you put out there, but that gets a lot of traction and you're like, okay, like as in
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, like you don't understand how exactly it works. And honestly, I think something with the media as well is like things can also go viral after like years and years, right? Like there's no like right timing. So you just put things out there that you're proud of like putting out there and whatever. Like as even if one person, like even staff or faculty who reached out to either of
Yeah,
us, like
yeah.
talking about these episodes and telling us like what they liked and what they
Mm.
enjoyed. I think that
You know,
really means a lot to us.
Who else mentioned that? Remember the workshop thing that we attended back in like freshman or sophomore year?
It was like part of a
yeah,
Hawara.
yeah. That guy who told us about Riverside as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, what he said was also like something along the same lines. That as long as you have an archive of episodes that you can always fall back onto, like there's always a time when they can go viral out there. So
Yeah.
as long as you keep on being consistent with that kind of an effort, like it can sort of like pick up pace one day or the
Good
other.
advice. Good advice.
Yep. Okay, final one is: would you rather find out GQ Speaks had 10,000 secret listeners who never engaged, or the 200 listeners you know about who told you it mattered,
I think 200 listeners.
who kept on engaging? Okay, but in all honesty, if those 10,000 secret listeners,
10,000.
10,000 secret listeners are listening, that's still like
But what's the point
Something.
if you're listening and you're not engaging? You're just listening.
Hmm.
They're probably listening.
But if they're listening, that's also like
listening while
at
doing
least
their
some form of
laundry,
like engagement.
I mean,
If they find it meaningful enough to give it a listen, I mean.
but why are they secret?
Like they just never engage, as in like they don't have skin in the game or something, or like like too detached from the whole
I
situation.
think a lot of meaning I find in the work that we do is like having conversations about it with people. So I would personally say 200, but I think
Okay.
you're leaning towards the 10,000.
towards the 10,000 thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. But I think like for me, a big part of like why I even continue to even do GQ Speaks is like talking to people who told me
Yeah.
like this episode was very helpful for them,
Mm.
or like the information, like whether it's study abroad or like research or whatever we covered.
And also, I think feedback wise, like we've had very different versions of the kind of feedback that we normally get.
Mhm.
Because for me, it has never been that pleasant.
He's getting the ugly side of
Exactly,
things.
the ugly side of things with regards to everything, and people are like, why are you still doing this? It's like, give up on this, as in like just
yeah.
leave, like just stop with it. And
No,
so
I think-
every time I even like sit to edit or something, like I have to sort of like be very low key about it. I'm like, okay, I don't want people to know that I'm working on this, because like that would initiate a conversation that I don't want to engage in.
No,
So
that's- I think that's also
that's
part
just-
of doing outreach is like the people that you reached out to who did
Yeah.
the episodes are the ones also like giving you feedback. So
exactly.
obviously it's a
exactly.
positive side.
Sometimes it's just like way too much feedback. Like no one asked for your opinion.
you're like, okay, bro, like
yeah,
wrap it
just
up.
give feedback when you're asked for it. Like otherwise, it's fine.
Yeah, no, I think my experience was very different, and I think that's also part of the reason why like I keep pushing to like continue this project. But yeah.
Cool.
cool.
So
Yeah,
that
we're-
brings us to the end of this game. So this next game that we have in the works here is called the Dream Podcast Roster. And this one's like a team game basically. What we're both gonna do is we're gonna build a roster together. And the gimmick is that we cannot really include ourselves in it. That's the kind of premise. So what we would do is we would go like back and forth in terms of deciding, okay, who gets to fill in which role, which is regards to like 3 stages of the podcast production process. You've got pre-production, you've got recording, and then you've got post-production. And there are a bunch of different roles in every different stage. So who would we pick for each role is the idea of like designing this whole dream team of sorts basically.
Mm.
So let's start with pre-production.
Okay.
Okay, pre-production. First thing that we have on our list is like guest outreach and scheduling. So you've handled the bulk of it throughout our run. So who would
Mm.
you want in your place to be like the ideal person who's reaching out to people?
That's a very difficult question because I think like dealing with people is very difficult.
I mean, think of like club
Mm.
members as well over the time. Who do you think has the most potential in terms of handling
think-
this kind of job?
I think there's people who like would maybe be good at like communicating with other
You can even
people.
include professors, by the way. Like, I don't mind.
Yeah, I think let's put. So for that, I'd put Dr. Jafari.
Dr. Jafari?
Yeah,
Okay.
for guest outreach and scheduling. I think
Because he has tons of decent connections as well.
he's,
which
yeah,
I
and
feel
he's
like he can-
pretty like open and
Yeah.
flexible.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
So I think when he would reach out to people, like people would respond. So
Yeah,
I
for sure.
think he's a good person
Yeah.
to pick for this role. Research and script writing.
So that's something we both worked on.
Yeah.
I think Bayan. Bayan did a good
Okay,
job
yeah,
at her
yeah,
script
yeah, yeah.
writing and her not because she's my friend, guys, but I'm
Mhm.
genuinely being honest. Like I think the episodes that she worked on was very like research.
Yeah.
Like whether it's Wadia Said or Kamrawa, I think
Okay.
she prepared her questions well.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. No, definitely. I agree with that. Okay, next stage is recording. So who would you want as the host for this episode?
I have my answer.
I have my answer as well, but you can go
Okay.
first.
Ali Nasser.
Ali Nasir, okay. Could
I think
definitely start
all of
this
the episodes he
interviews.
worked on are nice. Like I would listen to those, and I think he's
Yeah.
such a good host.
And then he's also able to like carry out an interview without like that much of an outline. Like the way he sort of like structures his thoughts is like
It's
he
very
gets into
organic.
things. It's very organic. Yeah, it doesn't
yeah.
seem like he's following like a set pattern or something, which is like a
Yeah.
nice skill to have in that sense. But okay, Ali Nasir. Let's put Ali Nasir in there for now. I would move my choice that I had in mind to the guest.
Well, but I need to know who it is.
So I was gonna say Professor Walid Ziad, but then I think he can even work around as a nice guest as well, because some of the questions that he's gonna ask as well is gonna be like are gonna be pressing and something of that sort.
Okay.
We had an episode planned with him as well, so maybe my vision with this is like
Okay.
sort of like getting that into the works. I have a second guest as well, but if you
Okay.
have like a different
I have
opinion,
another guest.
yeah.
but-
But let me say on mine first, and then we can
Okay.
sort of like go back and forth with it.
So
It's-
we have two guests, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
the first one is like the big guy. The second one is like the underdog pick. In my case, it would be Andrew Henley for this, for the underdog pick, because like no one expects to be like really that brilliant in the mic, but then at the same time, I know that this person has the potential to like actually put an interesting and engaging story out there. For me, it has to be Andrew Henley, who is the chief
Fair.
operations officer for the university, right?
Yeah.
Like COO. Used to be the CFO,
Yeah.
now he's the CEO.
I
But yeah.
used to be in finance.
Really interesting guy to talk to. So I would love an episode with like Ali and then Professor Walid Ziad and then Professor Andrew Henley. Like there has to be some sort of connection in there that we can sort of do. But yeah, that would be like a really nice episode to
Okay.
have.
So for me, it would be Jibrin,
Okay.
Ali as the host,
Mhm.
and funny enough, I would put Professor Musgrave.
Professor Musgrave. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. We haven't had him in the podcast
No,
yet, right?
unfortunately.
Yeah. Same for Walid Ziad and Andrew Henley as well. So I think like having these kind of people in our guest list would be a very nice addition if this fire alarm thing is gonna let us
Yeah.
be. But
No, it's
yeah.
part of the effect, you know.
Part of
This
the
is
effect.
how
Part
things
of the
go,
effect,
guys.
exactly.
Okay.
Like improvise, adapt, and
No,
that's
for
how you
sure.
keep the show running. Post production, editor.
I have someone in mind.
I have someone in mind as well. You wanna go first with this one?
I would say Ilaha.
Ilaha.
Mm.
Ilaha is a very decent choice. I mean, like she definitely like helped us
She carried like the first
A
couple
lot.
of episodes.
exactly with regards to editing as well, and then she was really new to this whole thing as well.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say was maybe like Salman for this. So Salman
I didn't
is
think
like-
of him. Wait, we need to give him a shout out.
Yeah, no,
or a
definitely,
club
like-
mentor.
Salman Ahad Khan is assistant director for Al Mujadala. He runs a very he runs a great show for their for Al Mujadala that's called More Muslim. And he has been a mentor for us throughout our time, especially around the time when we were experimenting around with narrative episodes. He was the kind of person who kept on pushing us to even explore what narrative episodes are, and he had this whole bible of steps sort of compiled into one go of how do you even approach a narrative episode, how do you write down the script of a narrative episode, and then he used to give us time almost bi-weekly. We used to sit down with him and sort of discuss ideas with regards to how we are approaching narrative episodes. And then every sort of issue that we used to get into as well, he was our go-to person, our mentor with regards to figuring out the issues and everything.
Yeah, and he even came as a guest on campus for one of our events.
Exactly,
which was
exactly. This was a
and
really
it had
nice
very
fireside chat we
successful
had.
event, I would say, and I think he was also a GQ alumni. So.
Exactly,
Class of
exactly.
2016.
2016, I think.
So 10 years ago, he was here.
Exactly. And now the way that he sort of he's shown me how his whole editing suite works, it's really interesting to see. like one would aspire to be like, you know, this good at the craft that like that's the kind of level that they want to get to. Because the way he sound designs, he composes his own music as well. The way he sort of like, you know, runs the whole the editing process, starting from like Descript and taking it to what's it called, like Pro Tools and then Adobe Audition and all of that. It's really interesting to see, and I hope in some sort of like formal capacity as the club progresses, we can just come up with like a way of bringing in experts who are actively working in this field to actually teach people as well how they can sort of like, you know, engage with this kind of an art form, with the more technical side of things as well. Because now the platform is out there. I think all of the right kind of resources can be sort of like pulled in together to make it grow in that sense.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, for me, editing wise, I think Salman would be.
No, I
would be the
definitely
pick.
think is a really good pick.
Yeah. Social media.
Social media, I would keep it as Masha.
Okay.
For you as well, or did you have someone in mind?
Social media. I was gonna
think
say
Ali.
like Ali Sher for social media as well. But then the way you can sort of like structure is like Masha handles the post, Ali Sher does some of the reels. Because this is another interesting story we can tap into as well. The first senior sign out that we did, that was like
2025.
for class of 2025. That was a huge hit. Like
Yeah.
the first hour or two, like it had like around like 10,000 views and
No,
stuff.
yeah.
Before it had to be removed for
Unfortunately.
unfortunately for certain reasons. But yeah, that was sort of like Alisher's like,
Project.
you know, project, and it was he went all out in terms of like the creativity with it.
It
sort
was
of,
really nice and the quality was insane, and we were also
Yeah.
happy when it went out. Unfortunately, we had to take it down and re-upload it after a while.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think like seeing how much effort people also put into the things
Yeah.
that they're passionate about. Like, yes, it may not be podcast, but it's definitely something that we can use as a club.
Exactly,
so.
exactly. So I think yeah, he's really good with this craft if he sort
Yeah.
of like, you know, keeps on working on it. But I think like that whole episode was like a bummer for him.
Very
So,
unfortunate turn of
very
events.
unfortunate in that sense. But
Yeah, because let's actually go through what happened, because we did have a consent form.
we did have a consent form, but then okay, it's my mistake in
No,
terms
no,
of the
like
fact that
I will be very honest here. We had like multiple consent forms like available for people to like sign off before the recording happens of the reel. And you would think that if somebody's going up to a camera and they're holding a pen and they're signing off,
off on it.
you would think that they're already agreeing to like be part of the podcast, be part of the reel
Yeah.
recording. But unfortunately, we did not realize that like every single person has signed yes except one person, and they already
Just take
did.
no on that.
Who ticked no, and we were just under the assumption that everybody who did sign, like we were just doing it for protocols. We're not.
And
really...
there were like 50 different forms that we had, and then like I wasn't really paying that close attention to okay, how many am I
Yeah.
like even like going through every single form and sort of like check them. I was like, okay, as long as they're signing it and giving it back to me, khalas, they're on board with it. And the way we were doing it was like, okay, they were like all of the seniors were making like a line, and then everyone was having turns, sort of
Yeah.
like signing.
So it was very chaotic, very like
Exactly,
there
and it
was
was
a lot
we did
going
that on
on.
Georgetown Day as well. So
there was a lot
It
going
was
on already. So
packed,
like
yeah.
obviously just went under the radar. But then after the like it went out, that person reached out and was like
it was like a teeny little bit of like,
it's
a fraction of a second that's in
yeah,
there.
But
But
yeah, that comes to
again-
show you guys like how much detail goes into these things that like you
Yeah.
definitely turn a blind eye to, and then you realize like
Yeah.
oops.
But I think we
Yeah.
bounced back with it with the senior sign out reel that we brought this
Yeah,
year. I
for
mean,
this
that
year.
also did pretty
For
well
our
in terms
class,
of
class
views.
2026,
Yeah.
yeah. With shout out to Malak and
Absolutely, absolutely.
Musab for doing that.
Absolutely. Even though like we had to do like a lot of
We-
improvisation for that as well,
yeah.
but then these guys pulled through with like, you know.
They really did, and it's honestly a special thing to do for seniors
Yes,
because
yes,
obviously
yes,
like you're
yes.
signing off for your senior year, so yeah.
It's really
Uh,
interesting thing.
we'll
to do.
conclude with graphic design.
Okay, who do you want for graphic design in that
design.
sense?
So I would say Manal Sadiqi and Abdul Hanan.
Abdul Hanan, yes, and I think for Abdul Hanan, the one thing that most people don't or like still don't know about, and I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm not sure if he wants me to tell people, but I still want to tell people.
Yeah, I think people should know
People should know that the logo for GQ Speaks. Once like I think we were like at the 25th episode mark or
Yeah.
something, we decided to do like a whole brand rehaul. For legal reasons too, by the way. But that's a separate story. But we did a whole brand rehaul, and we were like, okay, let's come up with a new logo. Let's come up with like a new design and everything for the club. Because by that until that point, we were just using the Georgetown like Jack the Bulldog logo to sort of like work. But that's Georgetown copyrighted, so we needed to bring in
Do
something that's our own.
like, yeah.
So I reached out to Abdul Hanan. I was like, since he's into like like
Design
art and design and these kind of things, I was like, can you come up with a logo for the club? And he was like, yeah, definitely. And so he started like pulling in ideas through some of the murals that he's painted in Georgetown as well. There's this one mural up there in the student lounge that has like the Georgetown building sort of like facade out there painted, and then there's like the atrium lights and everything. So that sort of like made his design inspiration for the logo of the club as well. So he was like, I'll take a picture of the mic, sort of like paint the podcast mic, and then balance the lights in the atrium on top of it to
It's
show
such a beautiful
how
logo.
we're equating like
Yeah.
opinions in the same kind of like weighing scale in that sense. And I loved how meaningful that logo was with regards to like not just being something that's a visual identity of the club, but also something that really means something and sort of like captures the essence of what we're trying to do. So
It's a very beautiful logo. You should be proud of it. And
Exactly,
I think people deserve to know.
people deserve to know, I think.
Yeah, it will go out there and people will see it. So
Absolutely.
a lot of work goes into these things, and we're very grateful for everybody who like doesn't get that much publicity, but like still manages to like support us and
Of course.
provide work for us.
Cool.
We'll jump into back. Wait, that was the last game, yeah.
Yes, that was the last game. I think we can just jump back to the
the
last game that we have.
Concluding segment. Okay. So how do you think the version of yourself who started GQ Speaks would react if they saw us now?
How my version of what?
The person that started GQ
Ooh.
Speaks.
In all honesty, that person wasn't really like anticipating that we would reach this mark even because I was
This is so news to me because I was like in for like 4 years.
because I was
like,
thinking this is just something that we're having fun with. This is just a joke and it'll
Nice.
end up pretty soon.
Mhm.
It'll fizzle out on its
nice,
own.
very
But-
nice.
But I'm glad that it didn't. I'm
Yeah.
glad it didn't happen that way. I mean,
No, I'm sure you're glad, but like I just came in thinking like
yeah,
we
that
were-
there's
yeah,
this is a bunch of like serious folks who
Yeah,
are
no,
committed
it's
to like
funny.
a vision and everything.
it's funny. Yeah, no, I think they would be proud of us. I think.
I think so as well. Yeah, I think so as well. Because I never expected it to pick up pace or anything like.
Yeah, I mean, I did expect for it to go far, but I also didn't expect like the back of this, like behind the scenes, to like be the way that it was. I think I grew so much as a person. Like even forgetting the numbers, forgetting like the maybe the quantifiable like results, if they call them that, or like growth.
And, yeah.
I think growth for me was definitely very personal as well.
Mm-hmm.
So which
Definitely.
guest? Well, I'll just jump into questions
Mhm.
that I think people are curious to know. And
Some of them came
Yeah.
through the Instagram story as well, right?
yeah,
Okay.
so we did put up an Instagram story for your questions. So which guest surprised you the most?
Which guest surprised us the most?
I would say for me, with Saeed.
Wadia Said?
I think he.
But then we
took-
only got like 15 minutes of Wadia Said.
No,
so
but
like-
that's the thing. That's what surprised me the most. Like how not punctual he was. Like sorry, but like I was.
I thought you
so-
meant that in a good way.
No, bad surprise, not good
Bad
surprise. Yeah, I think,
Okay.
but I think a good surprise would be like maybe MK.
Okay, yeah.
And
it was
Asma
really
Shakil,
nice.
I
Asma
think.
Shakil, that was a really nice episode as well.
Yeah, if you're interested in like
Mhm.
research, roads, summer grants, like this is
All of that.
an episode that would really you would really enjoy.
Yeah, I think even like some of the study abroad episodes that we did with
Mm.
Rayed, with Fatima Yunsa, with Juan Carlo, like
Yeah.
all of them were really interesting as well.
Yeah, to
So I
hear
think-
about like how people experience their study abroad so
Exactly.
differently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was also very interesting.
So worst episode.
Worst episode. Worst episode in terms of
The collective experience.
collective experience. Okay. I don't know. Maybe Imam Hindi episode. It just because like we were very new to the
Yeah,
whole
I think
thing
we were
as well.
very new, and it just rubbed us the wrong way, guys.
Yeah, and like the whole even like roles wise, we weren't really clear about like okay who's doing what. So we were expecting the host who was like who was the president of the MSA back then,
Yeah.
right? Who was sort of like taking the creative lead in that show. So we were expecting that most of the editorial sort of like instructions would come in through her. So that's what we were kind of expecting. Not realizing that we should actually be the ones who should have their own input into like the whole editorial landscape.
Yeah.
But over time, I mean, these kind of things only.
Yeah, I just think it was like because it was so early on, like,
Yeah.
it just rubbed us the wrong way.
Exactly.
If you would say regrets, I would say I have one regret, like two regrets, not doing enough Arabic episodes, and not doing enough narrative episodes.
Yes, for me it's narrative episodes as well. Yeah,
I think that's a field that like we take into like a
Mhm.
bit later.
Yeah.
But
wish we could have started
I will
sooner.
say like Salman was a big factor into like
absolutely,
into us
absolutely.
picking up
Because
that.
it's a whole different kind of like art form. Like it's really like an audio film that you're making at that point.
But it's so nice to listen to. Like that's the thing. I've
Yeah.
always listened to these things, but I've never imagined myself
Mhm.
producing something like that. So
And it's so much more interesting to work on as opposed to like a traditional chat show as well.
Mm.
So yeah, no, definitely narrative episodes for me as well.
So I think just a concluding note for this
Okay.
podcast. I think building a culture of like storytelling and dialogue and discussion is not something easy. But I would say we took a shot at it. And we tried to like create opportunities for future students to like pick up where we left and see where they can go with it. But yeah, I mean, I think like this GQ Speaks itself can show other students that you can build something from scratch and see it grow as you grow as a person. And I hope like this, like even if it doesn't continue after us for long, but at least if it can encourage students to like pick up their passions and try their own things and try to also like challenge the institution and push back and like keep asking for more and doing more things, because at the end of the day, like we have so much privilege just being here and we have so many resources that we can use. So if you want to make a name for yourself and make an like also help your community and help your people, I think you definitely have a lot of resources.
I think this
to
is
use.
one more thing that I'm gonna miss in the life after graduation. Sort of like having this access to a community where you can make an impact. Like that's also something that's really meaningful that we got
For
to do
sure.
through the club itself.
Yeah.
And whether or not this like form of like journalism or like art form is something that does not resonate with you as well, like I mean, even if that's the case, like you can have something else that you're passionate about, as long as it's making the same kind of an impact within the GUQ community. I think that's definitely worth a shot taking at. And I hope we get to see like more initiatives like that being taken in Georgetown, where people actively want to like reach out to or like appeal to people in the community and sort of like get them to voice their opinions about certain things, no matter what the medium may be or what the approach may be. As long as there's like creativity associated with it, there's a genuine passion and there's a genuine unbiased kind of like an approach to it. I think that's what makes it all the more meaningful as well. And I think that's what our approach has also been throughout the years. Like we've barely ever let our own personal biases sort of like affect the quality of the work that we're doing. Because with regards to all the stories that we're putting out there, it's very easy to have an opinion, at least not necessarily a bias, or an opinion with regards to what you personally believe about a certain situation. But then how do I sort of like distance myself away from it and at the same time try and capture what the community out there wants to hear and is feeling at the same time. That's what this whole dynamic is all about, and I think that's what makes it all the more interesting to even work on.
No, for sure. And I think like we've gotten like, you'll never please everyone. That's something that you also have to keep in mind. Like you'll always have people like maybe giving you negative feedback, but that's also something for you to choose to grow from. And I think like also realizing that if your intentions in itself are like you're in the right place and your heart is in the right place, you know that you're putting something out there that you're just proud of putting out there, then nothing of that should matter to you. Like you should just continue doing what you do. And honestly, at the end of it, like people will see the bigger picture, see the full story. They would not just like pick and choose tiny bits of your journey and like put you down for that. So I think just like going after what you think is the right choice, and obviously everything is trial and error. But yeah, when we started GQ Speaks, we thought we were starting a podcast. I think we started like more of something bigger than that, more of a community and a place for conversation.
Well, look at us.
Look at us.
Parting wisdom.
No, really, we are. I feel a lot of people like come to us for because like obviously we were seniors, but also alumni now. I think like people always ask us things, and I'm like, you do realize I'm like in my head I'm still a student, like I'm still a freshman in my head. So
and we figured out these kind of things on the go as well. Like it's really trial and error, as you keep mentioning.
There's no recipe, but I will say like
recipe for disaster for sure.
damage control.
And all of that. But yes, there is no like right way of doing it. So as long as you keep your intentions clear, sort of like you let creativity take the lead on how you're approaching certain things, I think you should be fine.
Yeah, and honestly, finding someone who you can share your passion with is also something important. Like, I think if we both didn't want to do it, like, even if I was enough, like, I had enough passion, having a team or somebody who I can, like, also channel that passion to and see them also bounce off it, like, is something that I wouldn't take for granted. And I think a lot of the work that we did was because we were able to, like, bounce off of each other's thoughts. Also having communication and, like, even if we wouldn't agree on some things, but, like, also being honest about, like, not liking an X episode for X reason and, like, giving an alternative or things like that, and also taking each other's opinions, so like it's not like a one-man show where like you're just taking on the lead for something. So I think having an open way for communication has been a big part of this. But I'm excited for the new leadership.
Absolutely looking forward to it. Seeing where the club goes with regards to like like as I mentioned as well, like it's everything seems to be like in working condition now. Like everything seems to have picked up momentum. So now this really is the perfect time to grow exponentially. So I'm really excited for that, and where this club goes with that sense.
Yeah, so the elections happened back in April, and Ruth and Iman are going to be the new leadership for JQ Speaks. So we're excited to see what they work with, and obviously, as we said, like there is no one vision for JQ Speaks. There's multiple visions that can coexist together, and whoever starts a new leadership can go on with it however they want to. So we'll be on the sidelines, maybe watching, and
definitely rooting for these guys, making sure that the club actually like picks up more pace and everything, and hopefully they get to do the stuff that we weren't able to.
Yeah, for sure. And we're glad we were able to like build this foundation for them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So thank you for listening.
That brings us to the end of this episode.
That really does. Our 50th episode is done, and Kirby's there to witness.
Yep. And more exciting stuff coming your way. So yeah, till then, I mean, it's goodbye from our side.
Yes.
Hopefully, if we have that 10-year reunion.
One day, guys. One day, maybe.
One day we'll be back. But till then, best wishes for the club. Best wishes for Georgetown. And it's goodbye from us.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of GQ Speaks. We hope you've gained valuable insights and inspirations from our conversation today. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to follow us on our Instagram page at GQ_speaks, and be sure to leave a review on Spotify to show your support.